Hello, hello there, my crafty friends. It's Candy here from sweetstamper.com, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Facebook always starts giving me notifications as soon as I turn this thing on to live. So I wanted to be on time, and so while I'm waiting for the little delay here and to see if anybody is going to join me, I will get my notifications turned off. Hi, Beverly. I'm glad you're joining us today. And get my computer synced so that I can see what you are seeing once I bring the camera down. Because I know that I need to be able to not be flying blind. So, hey, Kay, I'm glad you're here with us today. I have a fun project for you today. It is Teach Me Tuesday, and so that means I'm going to teach you something in particular, and I have a fun fold for you. And also, I have been highlighting my favorite kind of top picks on the retiring list. In particular, my favorites are going to have two main criteria, and that is, first of all, I have to really love it and have used it and thereby vouch for it. And number two is my top picks on the retiring list are the ones that are reduced in price. We have some incredible deals this year. And I know I've got a little bit of a shaggy hair going today. I'm booking my hair appointment, but you know, I'm trying to time it with our trip to Maui in a couple of weeks. So anyway, so yeah, back to the deep discounts. I mean, back in the day, I used to go to the bargain basements with my mom. I mean, we were really good, like really skilled bargain shoppers, and that kind of came from my dad growing up on the wrong side of the tracks, as it were. Growing up dirt poor, as he used to say, but his mom really believed in buying high value items, even if you only had a couple. And so what would happen was, even though we didn't have very much when I was growing up, what we did have, we didn't buy at the 5 and dime. We went to Josky's. For those of you local folks will remember, when Josky's had their big clearance sales, and I don't remember, I think Josky's had a bargain basement. Some of the big department stores had an actual bargain basement. And it could get a little wild in there because, you know, things would be flying, you know, dresses and slips and all kinds of things that were on really, really bargain prices. And that kind of reminds me of what's going on right now with our, first of all, we had a clearance rack refresh today, but also our retiring list with the deep, deep discounts. So that's going to be what I'm going to highlight for you, is a retiring stamp set that is deeply discounted on top of a coordinating punch. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring camera down and let's see what we've got to look at today and what we are going to stamp today. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is that we have those of us who are achieving demonstrators and heading to Maui, God willing. There's a lot of hoops to jump through just because of COVID protocols. But heading to Maui, this is on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip, and I have been very blessed to earn both the first Maui trip and then the second. And so what that means is the first Maui trip we were meant to go on was canceled because of COVID. And so then the second incentive trip was supposed to be on a cruise, which Stampin' Up! Also decided that was not going to really be workable this year, which was good forward planning. So they gave us a double Maui. If you earned both, you get to stay extra. So they always, on the incentive trips, they always give us these amazing luggage tags. And you end up acquiring quite a collection as time goes on if you are achieving the incentive trips. So they always give you two, and then for your plus one gets two as well. And these have like a cork, really pretty, and then on the back where you can put your information on there. And so these are really great kind of keepsakes, as well as having, of course, very practical use. Everything came tied up with this gorgeous petal pink ribbon, one of my favorites, and this is carrying into the new catalog. And so, of course, because everywhere you go on Maui, you're going to be wearing a mask. And so I love that they have given us special masks. We have the little Stampin' Up! Logo here, or the Stampin' Up! Tag, I should say. And we have a pretty gender-neutral tag, especially when you're in Hawaii. The guys wear flowers and pineapples and all kinds of things. So one for me and one for my hubby. Whether I can get him to wear this Calypso Carl mask, yeah, we shall see whether that's going to go with my very dapper husband. And then we have our name tags, and this is what you typically wear around so that people can identify you. And you get a lanyard and everything, and that way when you're walking in the hallway or you're out by the pool or whatever, you may not wear this by the pool, but if you're in the dining room or something and you see somebody with one of these tags, then you know it's somebody on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip, and that means I'm going to go over. If I don't know them, I might go over and introduce myself and things like that. So that gives everybody the heads up. Look at that cute kind of artsy pineapple, and then of course the palm fronds here. And then last but not least, we always get some kind of a little like a travel wallet. And again, this has this really cool cork, and then that great little Stampin' Up! Logo. And then we have helping us to know what's happening when, but of course this time a lot of information also about kind of COVID protocols. Here's a map of the resort where we will be, and then in addition to all of the information that you have right there at your fingertips in a place that you can easily stow this, then you have a place you can put your credit cards if you want, so you don't even have to really carry much of anything else. And if I pull this out a little bit more, then you can use this afterwards because you've got a place here to keep receipts, dollar bills, all kinds of fun things. So this is definitely something that you can use after the trip. Okay, so that I wanted to share with you are my Maui goodies, and God willing, I am leaving on May the 15th for an almost 2 weeks in, well, Maui, and then my husband and I are extending our trip a little bit. So I will be sharing more with you about that. I see I've got kind of a bit of a glare coming in from my window, so let's see how we get on. Okay, I am highlighting today one of our retiring products, and it is this beautiful stamp set. Hey Cheryl, hey Laura, Darlene, Marlene, Bonnie. Well, I've been rabbiting on, Gail, and I had already welcomed Beverly and Kay, so great group we have assembling here today. I'm highlighting Floral Essence stamp set, and I will tell you why. First of all, it's a very pretty stamp set, but also because, looky here. So I've already started working on my inspiration sheet. This stamp set is a $17 stamp set. It's on sale for $10.20. I'm like, why would you not get that stamp set? Now, to top it off, the paper I'm using today is Artistry Blooms, and it is from $11.50. It's reduced to $9.20, still a good savings. And then, here's the bomb, is there is a coordinating punch for this, and it is called the Perennial Flower Punch, and it's an $18 punch. It's on sale for $7.20. So these are definitely bargain products, and so I wanted to share them with you today. So I'm going to get ready to stamp here. I will go ahead and move catalog out of the way. And let me just show you a couple of things. I know my brain kind of goes in different directions. A couple of the cards I've received in the mail. This is that gorgeous Touch of Ink, which I had a limited edition class that just went out in the mail this week. So this card I got in the mail from a friend. I think it's just beautiful. And this is that paper that's available through the end of June. And I'm trying to remember the name of it. Love You Always, I think is the name. It's a black and white paper, and see how she's added ink. Lovely. And then this I got from Paulina, one of my team members, and I think it's just lovely. I believe this is the Pretty Perennials stamp set and dies, which are also a mini catalog, spring mini catalog product, all done. This is a monochromatic card done in Misty Moonlight. Way to go, Paulina. And then this is a card I got from my upline for being in the top 10 in sales for her team last month. And this is using the, again, mini catalog item. It's the whole ice cream corner suite, and has the paper, has the stamps, has the punch, and this whole, well, not the paper, but the stamps and punch have carried into the new annual catalog. And then last but not least, my show and tell before I actually start stamping is, this is, I do like to review with you. This is last Tuesday. This was Teach Me Tuesday. We did this fun fold. I don't really know what this is called. I'm going to call it an I fold because to me it's like the letter I. So we did this fun fold last week on Teach Me Tuesday. Really gussied up that envelope. So if you missed that, you can scroll down and you'll find that information. It's also on my YouTube channel. Okay, let's talk about Perennial Essence. No, sorry, Floral Essence is the name of the stamp set. It is a photopolymer stamp set. You can see that mine has been very loved, greatly used. If you have been stamping for a while, you may have this leaf punch. This retired last year, but this stamp actually coordinates with that leaf punch. And so you can punch that leaf out as well as stamp it. So let me show you a card that I got in a swap that's really lovely. And this is, yeah, this is from last year because the paper is no longer current. But this shows you a great example of the flower. So you have this flower punch stamp here, and then you have the coordinating punch, which is here. And so this is that punch that's on sale, and this is the stamp set that's on sale. So I think the two of them together are like $18. You'd normally spend $18 just on the punch. So this is how you do this. You can do as many of these as you want and layer them together for all the different petals. Now this particular swap has that leaf punch on there. But if you don't have that leaf punch, hey Shannon, I'm glad you're here. You could easily fussy cut this or do something else. This is also retiring. This is the, what do you call it? Layering Shapes die. And then this is also kind of a fancy fold and a fancy closure. So this is not what I'm doing today, but very pretty and showcases some of the other stamps that I'm not using today. So it is two-step stamping in the sense that you have the outline of the flower and then the inside of the flower that you can do separately. So I can see where I've kind of got my camera. I think I need to adjust just a wee bit because I'm reaching way across my table, and I think I kind of, there, I think that's going to be better. Okay. Okay, let's see what Candy's going to make today, because I have a little bit of something to teach you, and that is we are going to teach you, first of all, what it means to case, and then I'm going to show you this fancy fold or fun fold. This is a card that I created for my Touch of Ink card class, and it is a fancy fold. It's a what I call a peekaboo window. And I'm going to show you how you make that peekaboo window. And I'm also going to case this card exactly. But I'm going to use different stamps. I'm going to use different papers. But I'm going to use the same ribbon and the same card base. Hey, Jill, I'm glad to see you here today. So this was actually born out of the fact that I had prepped more than I needed. I lost track of my count. And so I ended up with a bunch of card bases that are this size. Now this is 5.5 by 4 1/4. This is just exactly a quarter sheet of cardstock, and this is Flirty Flamingo. Then I had extras of this piece here. Now this is 10.5, so I've taken my 11-inch length and I've cut it off just a little bit scored it in the center, and I do have the measurements listed for you. And then I'm not going to run this through the Big Boss for you because I've got coloring to do, and it's going to take me a little bit of time. But then you just open this card up and run it through the Big Shot. Now you want to score it ahead of time, not the Big Shot, the Big Boss. You want to score it ahead of time so that you can look on your machine, lay your cardstock out, and eyeball it. That you want it to not only be in the center, but you want to have enough room here that when you fold this, that you're going to be able to have some room. You don't want that that circle to be up so far that you know, it impedes your fold. So, hey Simone, I'm glad you've joined us. So that is, I mean, I didn't think that really required a demonstration because it's pretty straightforward. So let's see, let me grab my little tools here that I'm going to need. I'm going to need a seal, and I might need that liquid glue, and let's see, let's grab a couple of dimensionals. And then over here, I am going to, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to need mini glue dots because I'm going to use one of those little ladybugs. And then I need might need pick a tool, definitely need a bone folder, and might need my snips. So that's all my gear ready to go. Okay. So now we'll just kind of put this all over here. That's my extra piece that I probably don't need. But I do like to have an extra just in case I really, really mess up. Okay, so let's give this a really good crease, and let's start by stamping our image, and then I'll talk to you about the colors that I'm going to use and why I am going to use those colors. So I'm going to stamp in here in that little window. That's the same thing that I did over here. So when you have that peekaboo window, whoopsie, you want to have a stamp that's going to fit right in there. Now I do think I want my flower to be more in this direction. So I'm going to ink up my outline stamp with Tuxedo black ink because I am going to be using my blends to color this in. And I'm just going to center that about so, and then I'm going to press. Now you remember that when we're using our photopolymer stamps, and honestly it's just a good idea to get in the habit, you want to hold it down for a couple of seconds before you lift it up. And that way you get a really good adherence of your ink. Now, hey there, Mary, I'm glad you've joined us. I am going to clean this off because I'm going to use this same stamp with a color on my envelope. Now, typically when I'm using my blends markers, typically I will use the thick cardstock because it will bleed. It's going to bleed through. But you see, I'm going to be mounting this on top of my piece of Fleur de Flamingo cardstock, so that's going to be hidden. So I don't need to worry about it. What I am going to do, just in case, is I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper underneath me so it doesn't get on here. And that's just kind of me making sure that I don't end up with something I don't want, like ink transferring. Okay, I am going to fill in the center first of all. I did not want to color this with my blends, partly because it's not a complete, there aren't any strong lines. And I also wanted to use this little stamp. So I guess I really need to stand up to do this. That is going to fill in the center nicely. Now, how am I going to color this? Well, let me show you. I'm going to my trusty Fleur de Flamingo Color Coach, and I'm wanting to go with the purple. Now, we don't have Gorgeous Grape blends, but we do have Highland Heather. So that's the paler version of Gorgeous Grape. So that's what I'm going to use. And I am going to use a lot of the darker color first. And I want, because I really ideally would have this in Gorgeous Grape, so I'm going to go mainly with the dark, and I'm going to go heavily with the dark. and really just kind of going with the shading that the artist has already provided for me. So the artist, the Stampin' Up! Artist, has already provided me with a lot of beautiful dark shading lines. And so I'm going to go ahead, oh, I need to get a little bit more here. And then I'm going to go over this with the light, and I'm going to blend all of this out really well. Now, my tip, I should say, when you're using both tips is just to go ahead and take both ends off. And that way I'm ready to start working and I'm not having to go back and forth. Now I want to go ahead and do my the edges of my petals, because I don't want to have to be worrying about if I'm getting too close to the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in now. And then I will go in with my heavier tip, my brush tip. See, I've already gotten out of lines a little bit there, but that's okay. It's all right. And then my other tip for you is that when you are coming in here to blend out and to fill in, is to leave a little bit of white. It really, what happens is it ends up looking more natural. I think it kind of, and I don't really like strategically place where I'm going to fill it in or leave a little blank. I just kind of feather it out a little bit, and then that's going to automatically kind of give me some white space, or in this instance it's actually vanilla, but it kind of looks a bit like when the light is hitting a flower, or a lot of times on a variegated flower or leaf, there will be some little patches where the color did not come through completely. So that actually, I think, looks really good. Bear in mind that when you're using your blends, it will typically dry just a little bit lighter. So now I'm ready to put my lids back on, and I like to put it on my table and push until it snaps. Then you're not having to push, you know, I have a lot of weakness in my hands, and so pushing like that can be really difficult. But if I just put it on my table and use gravity to push there, it's easier for me, and also I'm listening for that ever important snap. That tells me that this is closed completely, and I desperately need it to close completely because these are alcohol markers and they will dry out. Okay, so now I have that pretty flower in my window. Now I am casing, remember, so this is my original that I am using as my guide. And I didn't want to use the embossing folder there, so I decided to pull in some of this paper. Now this is the Artistry Blooms paper, and this is on sale, so it's normally $11.50. I think it's on sale for like $9.20. So these are some of the pieces that I still have. And look at all, this is exactly the colors that I'm working with today, so I figured that would be a great piece to work with. I will show you that one of the projects I had done early on in this catalog was I made this bag, and this is a bag that you make with a 12 by 12 piece. This is the Artistry Blooms paper. Look how pretty it is on the inside. This lovely gift bag. And then I did put a little hang tag on here. Just super simple. And then when I bring this up, let's see, I think it goes this way. Then I have that nice, and I use some of the Artistry Blooms sequins. So yeah, Darlene, you love this designer paper. Darlene is a big Brights fan, and these are very bright colors in this paper. But look how they can kind of go a little bit more subtle, or a little bit brighter, or a little bit smoky or darker, depending on the way that you're using it. Now this is what I'm putting underneath me here. So you can see how this helps tie in the purple and the pink. And I think I'm going to actually, these are the 3 pieces from a 12-inch piece. This is actually 4 by 2 1/4. I think I'm going to use the one that has a little bit more of the pink in it, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. I don't need that anymore. That was just to catch my inks if I had any stray ink. So you see that side definitely wouldn't work. Now, this is what happens when you use your blends. On the back of your basic white or your very vanilla, it definitely bleeds through. So because I'm attaching this, it doesn't matter, but just bear that in mind anytime you're using your blends markers, that it is something to think about. Okay, so that is there. And that, I want to make sure that goes on the front, not on the inside. I need it on the front. And then I think I'm going to use this ribbon, but I do have a couple of options here. So if, I think that might be a little bit larger than what I initially used here, because that's going way up high. I think this must be a 2-inch piece, and I was remembering incorrectly, but that's okay. I already decided I'm going back to this here. I felt the navy blue was going to be a little bit dark here, so I jumped down my color coach and I picked up the old olive. And that's actually, you can see how even if you look at the Artistry Blooms paper, it will also give you some great ideas on color. So this is where I'm going to go. So I could go with this ribbon, is the original ribbon that I used, really nice. But the other one that's on the clearance, well, it's not on clearance rack, but I think it's reduced in price. This definitely dresses it up a little bit. That little touch of gold, and I think I might just do that because it kind of gives us a variety and still shows you how you can case and use some things that are the same and some things that are different. So let's go ahead and let's first of all attach this to the card base, because that is going to help. I'm hoping you guys are still there. Facebook has knocked me off on my computer again, but I'm getting really used to that. I tell you, it does that to me constantly when I'm on live. But hopefully y'all are still there. So that is my Peekaboo window. I'm liking it a lot. You know, the other thing you can do on this type of a fold that looks really cute, and that is to put your ribbon around the top. Now you have to tuck it underneath there, but you can do that too if you had something different there. I don't particularly like what I would call a raw seam. I grew up sewing. My mother sewed everything I ever wore, and so I did a lot of, I learned to sew as well. And so, yeah, no pun intended. I grew up with lots of sewing lessons and lots of time in fabric stores, and I always just loved it, you know. And some of those principles have remained with me. And one of those is that you didn't want to have a raw seam. So I'm going to cover that raw seam by just doing a little, I'm having to mess with this computer over here while you guys are bearing with me. I'm just going to do a little knot over here. I did a bow on my original. I'm going to do a knot this time. And again, I got that paper a little bit too wide, but I think it's going to be okay. And we're going to just do a little knot here. Pull that through like so, if I can grab that. Again, this is the Very Vanilla gold edged ribbon. One of my favorites. You can actually color these ribbons with your blends as well. This one is still available. The one that had the silver edging has already sold out. The one with the silver edging was actually white, and this one is vanilla, which is my guess is probably why it has already sold out and the gold one has not yet. But if you want it, you better head over there now. So that's looking really nice. You can see the similarities that I have with my original. So yeah, you're liking the one with the gold, Kay. I'm glad. Yeah, see how that dresses it up? This is a little bit more casual. This is a little bit more dressy. Now, I'm ready to put my greeting right there. See how that gives a nice pop of color, but everything is kind of working well together. And I wanted to use the greeting that says, put it. Might be easier to read it on the stamp set. Here we go. So I wanted to use this one that says, with friendly thoughts and best wishes, today and every day. I thought it was a nice, then on the inside, I could put happy birthday, or it could just be, you know, an everyday, I'm wishing you the best today. So let's go ahead and get our greeting, and I'm going to ink that up with my tuxedo black. And I'm going to do that over here. And then I am going to flag this, and you know my favorite way to flag is using a punch that is still carrying over. And yes, Mary, you like the gold on the ribbon, it gives it a little bit more life. Exactly, it gives you just a little bit of shine, just a little bit of shine, and kind of just brings in, I think there's always a touch of elegance when you use this ribbon. So that is actually looking really, really nice. I could add some stamping around the edge if I wanted to. Not sure that I do. I could add some leaves or something like that. I really kind of like it just the way it is. I think I'm going to go with simple. But I'm going to add some dimensionals to put this on. And then I am going to see about a couple of little embellishments. I'm thinking these ladybugs are going to work nicely. And I think instead of doing this in the center, I think I'm going to bring it up here so that it's a little bit closer to the ribbon. And it's not quite so matchy-matchy that way. And then, am I straight? Yes. I think I have the wrong scissors out here to be trimming. I got one side of that ribbon closer than the other. And I need to bring that, there we go, in. Now, I'm thinking, is this too casual, or is this just the right little something something? I think these little ladybugs are pretty darn cute. And I'm thinking that that is what I'm going to do, and kind of brings it back into a little bit more casual. Hey, Kathy, I'm glad you're here. And Bonnie likes my matte. This is the In Color grid paper. I'm not sure if it's still in the online store. It was for a long time, but I'm not sure if they sold it out. You know, Darlene's talking about coloring this ribbon, so I'm going to just show you really quick while I have this. So if I take this ribbon, I want to hear what you guys are thinking about these little gems. No, these aren't gems, these are actually little ladybug trinkets. Do I want ladybug trinkets on here, or is that too casual? Would I be better off with something like sequins? Okay, Kay likes the ladybugs. Okay, and Shannon loves them. Okay, everybody's liking the ladybugs. Yay, yay. Okay, and maybe I need to do more like this, and then only one down here. That might be better. So let me show you. You can see how we're casing still. And let me just show you what happens when you color this particular ribbon. This is the gold edged 3/8 inch ribbon, I think is what it's called. And this is a retiring product. It is reduced in price. Couldn't quote you the exact price right now. Because it wasn't my original intention. I was going to use this one, which is also reduced in price right now. But I did want to show you that you can actually color this type ribbon with just our regular Stampin' Write markers. But when you do it with the blends, they dry almost immediately. Our Stampin' Write markers are going to leave these pretty wet, and then you're going to have to let it dry. This does not. And I've got both sides done. Boom. I mean, that's just done. Now, I could have done that, which would have actually been really pretty. But that's okay. I went with the vanilla, so I've got more of the vanilla. But you see how you could take the same blend and do that and really get a very, very pretty look. Oh, grid paper is still there. Thank you, Darlene. So it is item number 155380, and it is a $9 item. I think you get 50 sheets, and I cut mine in half, so that's why you only have a half piece here. Oh, Darlene's getting all fancy with the technology and giving us a cute little ladybug symbol on the comments there. So that is, let me attach these. The best way to attach these is with the mini glue dots, and then we're going to gussy up the envelope. I think I got the glue dots out. Oh yes, here we go. So what I'm going to do is, I knew I was going to need this. What I like to do, and I know some people use the putty end more. I tend to use the tip end a little bit more. So now that little ladybug is going to go right there, boom. And then this ladybug here is going to be coming up near my flower where it probably wants to camp out for a little while. So this ladybug is going to go in the opposite direction there. Oh, Beverly, thank you so much for sharing my video. That really, really helps me. Shannon, it's not on the clearance rack, but when you look at the ribbon on the last chance list, I believe this ribbon is reduced in price. I might be wrong, but I believe that it is. So that goes there. And I will say, these ribbons have been some of my all-time favorites. A little bit gutted. Oh, you know what? There we go. I think that's going to be the ticket. There's the third one right on the flower. I like it. And then that's the inside. So let's go ahead and gussy up the inside, or not the inside, the envelope. I have my envelope right here ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. Just like what we did last Tuesday, we're going to do on the inside as well as the outside. So you remember I cleaned my stamp so that it would be ready to stamp in Flirty Flamingo. So let's just do a little here. And, look at that. I've got a little smudgy, that's really unfortunate. I guess I cleaned it and it picked something up. That is really, really unfortunate. I'm going to have to do something with that. I don't know what. That's going to be a hard one to fix. Let's see. Well, we'll figure something out. Or, you know what? Maybe we'll blame it on the post office, and whoever gets it in the mail will assume that it got messed up in the mail. Yes, so my ribbon, thank you, Darlene, was $7 a roll, which was still a great deal. And it's down to $6.30, even better deal. So it is something that I think you should be getting. Now, what I'm going to do is I had some more of that paper, and see how it has all those pretty colors that I've used. And this was in my scrap of not really scrap, but in my folder where I keep all of this paper that I've been using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, blender pen, that's a good call, Darlene. A blender pen might do the trick. So let me get the goobers off of here. So, sometimes you'll have a little goober buildup on the end of your liquid glue. So I pulled that off so that it would freely flow. And now this is going to go right there. And I wanted more of the purple showing and not the orange because that's more the colors that I was using. So now I'm going to come behind here with my paper snips. And let's do a little trimming. And this way I'm going to have this really flash envelope with the same designer paper that I used on the front of my card. And that is just going to really customize this and take this up several notches. And truth be told, this might even coordinate with that gift bag that I've already made, if I had a mind to give this person a gift as well. Let's just see what happens if I take this blender pen and pick up a little bit of the ink. Whoopsie, I just lost the tip of my blender pen went on the floor, but I will dig under the floor and and get that after I'm off camera. Okay, exactly. We're the only ones who would actually know that I'm the one who messed up the envelope as opposed to the United States Postal Service. Well, let's just see if we want to take and pick up a little bit of this ink and add it to our flower here. And by so doing, let's see if we can kind of blend that out where it's not quite so obvious. I will say this also gives a little bit more color to my envelope. And, this stamp does not have a two-step, where you can fill it in. It doesn't have one of those stamps. So you are going to be using your markers or your blender pens or your blends or something to fill that in. Let's grab this little guy here. So there's our flower center. So I do like that better. Okay, that smudge is not quite as obvious. And then look at that. I mean, is that beautiful coordination or what? So thank you very much, Darlene, for grabbing those item codes and also the prices for us. So yeah, it really does, just those little touches. And I do love these ladybugs. I know we're right in the throes of the retiring list, and this paper's retiring, the ribbon's retiring, the stamps are retiring, the punch that coordinates is retiring. These ladybugs are sticking around till the end of June because they are a spring catalog item. So remember that. Now I will update the inspiration sheet for you. This is my host code. I do believe that you should run, not walk, to the online store and get these items in particular. And what I did not put on my original, but is on my inspiration sheet here, is that would also include that flower punch, perennial flower punch, item number 149522, on sale for $7.20. So that's $7.20, and the stamp set is $10.20. Yeah. So for less than $18, the price of the punch originally, you get the stamps and the punch. I think that is a great deal. I think it's one that you should definitely consider adding to your collection. And if you are not a demonstrator, I'd love for you to use my host code, and I will send you a free gift. I do send a free gift with every order, and with larger orders, you get larger gifts. So that is what I have for you today. Teach Me Tuesday. We did a Peekaboo window card. That's what I call it anyway. And we did some shading and coloring with the blender pen, with both the, not blender pen, Stampin' Blends markers. And we also did a little, what was the other teaching thing? Well, we talked about how you can color the ribbon, even though that's not what we use. Now you see how it is lighter when it dries. And the other thing, when you add color to these add ink to the ribbons, is they end up being a little bit stiffer. It adds a little bit of body, but look at the blend of color on that. So I think that in retrospect, like I said, I was originally going to use the other color. This probably would have been a better fit because it would have a little bit more color there. So I might just go in there and, because this is just tied on here, I might just go in there and change that before I take my picture. Because as per usual, I had some ideas on where I was going to go with this, but I don't actually make the card until I get here with you guys, so, anything can go. The other thing we looked at was how to use this color coach. And when you are, like, I didn't want to use that darker color, so I just hopped down here and used one of the others. I'm so glad you like my card, stunning card. That is high praise from my assistant, my official assistant, Darlene. So I think she's a little bit hard to impress. Not in a bad way, but because she's such a great designer herself. So I appreciate that. And Mary, I didn't know you were here. So welcome, welcome. And Bonnie, I'm glad you like that envelope. When you get a little bit of extra, go that extra mile, do those extra steps. and really produce a flash envelope to go with your flash card. It makes a big difference. So I appreciate so much you being here with me today. Don't forget my host code and share my video. That helps me so much. So if you will share, I will greatly appreciate that. And I will post the inspiration sheet here directly as soon as I get my photo. All the other parts of the inspiration sheet are done. So if you're looking for the measurements and everything for this fun fold card, they will be here. And thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget, I will be here again Thursday at 2 o'clock for simple and stepped up stamping. We are still going with the retiring list this week, but we will be heading into some other things very soon. So thank you so much for tuning in. Take care and God bless.